The most wonderful time of the year. Although, let's be honest, around the holidays, things really add up. But here's the good news. Only at Verizon, you can get a single line for $50 per month when you switch and bring your phone. So while ice skating for two is definitely costing more, here at Verizon, you can save. Gifts for your third cousins? Steep. A single line with Verizon? Not so steep. A real tree? Pricey. A single line with Verizon? Less pricey. Flights to see Mima and Pops? Those are up. A $50 per month single line? That's down. Even a trip to the Atlanta holiday market will cost you more. But with Verizon, you can switch and bring your phone for just $50 per month for a single line on unlimited welcome, with autopay plus taxes and fees. All this to say, during the holiday season, when everything is costing more, you can get more for less right now at a local Verizon store. $15 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G, 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply. The most wonderful time of the year. Although, let's be honest, around the holidays, things really add up. But here's the good news. Only at Verizon, you can get a single line for $50 per month when you switch and bring your phone. So while ice skating for two is definitely costing more, here at Verizon, you can save. Gifts for your third cousins? Steep. A single line with Verizon? Not so steep. A real tree? Pricey. A single line with Verizon? Less pricey. Flights to see Mima and Pops? Those are up. A $50 per month single line? That's down. Even a trip to the Atlanta holiday market will cost you more. But with Verizon, you can switch and bring your phone for just $50 per month for a single line on unlimited welcome, with autopay plus taxes and fees. All this to say, during the holiday season, when everything is costing more, you can get more for less right now at a local Verizon store. $15 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G, 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Keeping It Real on Purpose, and I am your host, Edna White. We want to welcome you to Keeping It Real on Purpose. This is the place for in-depth conversations about your life, purpose, and personal wellness in every aspect of your life. We talk about real issues to develop life, a lot of relationships, and of course your business, all on purpose. We keep it real. And today on the show, we're excited to have Aliscia Brorman. She is the CEO and owner of TFY Apparel. Welcome, Aliscia.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, you are so welcome. You are so welcome. So, of course, I'm going to ask you right away, what does TFI mean?
It stands for The Forgotten Youth. It has a pretty deep backstory that goes into it.
Okay.
We can definitely get into that.
Yes, absolutely. Tell me about, now say the name again. The Forgotten Youth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and tell me what does that mean? That's deep. So tell me.
Yeah. Okay, so the story starts with me. You can imagine me, a little pigtailed girl, bright-eyed, and I'm 7 years old, and I am basically ripped from my family.
Wow.
I'm thrown into a foster home, and I am experiencing a whole new stage of life.
Right.
In this foster home, you're only allowed to have 3 shirts and 2 pairs of pants.
Ooh.
So you can imagine that, one, the trauma that we have to go through that lands us in the system. 2, being ripped from our homes, being placed in an unfamiliar place with unknown faces. And then, as you can imagine, when you're only allotted 3 shirts and 2 pairs of pants as a young schoolgirl,
absolutely,
it's inevitable that you encounter bullying on a daily basis, and so we're adding that to the list of traumas.
Oh yeah.
I always say this about foster kids. One of the best things, and one of the things that I think isn't emphasized enough, is that there are so many tools and skills and coping mechanisms that we develop at such a young age.
Sure,
and
of course.
And this moment, my biggest thing was that it was time to get to work and come up with a game plan. I wasn't going to take this bullying. So my problem solving skills kicked in, and I had every single one of the girls in the group home throw all of their clothes into a pile.
Ooh.
And I said, let's get to work. We're going to mix match. We're going to make sure that nobody's wearing the same thing every single day. And we're going to remove at least one aspect of trauma from our life, because we're already going through so much. Why add bullying to the list?
Game changer. Hashtag that, audience. Hashtag game changer. I love it. You gave me chills when you said you're going to throw it all together and we're going to mix and match. Just my type of girl. That's right. That is right. Game changer. I love it. So this is where this was born, this idea of just mixing and matching?
Well, so essentially what happened was, obviously you get older and you have to get taken to go get new clothes.
Right.
Well, imagine the foster system is heavily underfunded, so we went thrifting.
Yay! Love it.
Sparked this idea because as I walked through the aisles of the thrift stores, I couldn't help but just feel such a deep connection with the clothes because the clothes once had been cared for and now they were forgotten about.
Right.
And I felt that, once I had also been cared for and I truly did feel forgotten about, being thrown into the system in a whole new world all by myself to be devoured by the world. And so I felt that deep connection. And so that's where the Forgotten Youth was born. Essentially, as I got older, I developed the idea that I wanted to spread awareness and advocacy. And I just wanted to combine it with something that has been a lifelong love of mine, which is thrifting. I think you find some of the neatest pieces, everything that I have is so chic and vintage.
Right.
And so I'm just showcasing that to the world. I'm bringing something that was once forgotten and showcasing it while spreading awareness and advocacy at the same time.
Okay. So you know that clothing, fashion is the thing. And I know being part of, I wouldn't say that I was poor anyway, or I wouldn't say that. I would just say that I came from a different part of the world. So I came from Alabama to New York. So of course my clothing was different. And I ended up being thrust into a culture shock. Is much different than not having. Can you share like the experience of one of your clients, how that transition with just the feeling of having that option of having those clothing to make that change for them?
I think I would say that one of the biggest experiences for most people is that when they come and, they're shopping, if I'm doing a pop-up or whatever, they can't believe that this clothing was thrifted. It just baffles them. And to know and hear the story that I have behind the thrifting and what I'm doing. And, I always pitch that gig because the awareness is my number one thing that I want to push, right? Is that the foster system is in crisis right now. And so I kind of showcase that a lot. And what I'm wanting to do with the clothing is essentially transform TFY into a nonprofit organization, Be Forgotten Youth, that helps others. So they know that their purchase is funding the future, essentially, right? Because children are our future.
Sure, they absolutely are.
So that always provides such an impactful moment for them, which, I always hear from them how much they love their pieces and how much it resonates with them and how whenever they see it, they remember my story, and then it triggers the concept of like, oh, foster kids are out there and something needs to be done. And so that's my goal, is to take this piece of clothing, add a story to it, and hopefully promote change.
So are you a thrift store?
So I'm basically a resale store.
A resale store. And how do you obtain your items? Do you go pick them out? Okay.
Yes, I personally go. So I travel a lot. I do fashion markets. And so we travel all over the U.S. doing our markets. And when I travel, I always go thrift wherever we go.
Okay.
And me and my boyfriend also travel together. And so it's literally on the itinerary. You know, whenever we schedule our vacations, we have to fit in our thrifting moments.
Right.
And so I find these pieces from all over the U.S. Hopefully one day I can expand because Europe's fashion is my love.
Okay.
But for now, I find and I think that that's probably the funnest part of this gig is that you sift through so many different clothes, and then you find that one item that is just like unbelievably just cute and chic, and you're just like, this, and it's old school, but it's new age, and it just is. I
hear
so many things behind it,
Right.
and there was a story behind it.
Right.
There's so much there's so much that goes into a thrifted piece,
Right.
and also finding that piece, and so
Right.
it's the thrill of the hunt for me. Let's put it that way.
So you said you go to markets. Is it something that you schedule? So say for your business, okay, I'm going to, let's say, okay, I'm going to Italy this month. Let's take us through what your business looks like on a whatever, is it a monthly basis, weekly basis? Take us through that.
So essentially, I make it really a daily interaction for my hometown.
Okay, gotcha.
For where I live.
Okay.
It's the best time to go, because pound stores, I don't know if you know anything about them.
Yeah.
So.
I love it, but I never thought about the way you're thinking about it. I always thought of it as economically and good for the world itself, is stop buying so much junk. I'm a minimalist. That's what it is. Go ahead.
Yes.
Continue the story.
No, it's a double whammy,
Yeah.
It's not only more sustainable for our earth,
Right.
but
Absolutely.
it's also like these are items that you cannot find anywhere else. Most of the lines have been discontinued, or they no longer exist.
Right.
And so, finding these pieces, it's just like they are genuinely exclusive.
Right.
But, on a daily basis, I will hit up a thrift store.
Okay.
That's always, it doesn't matter. It works into, because I'm also a realtor. So,
Okay. Yeah, that's fun. That's fun.
Yes, exactly. Whole different conversation.
Yes. Okay, we matched on that part. We know it's a side joke, guys. Audience is a side joke.
Yes. So anytime I'm out showing a home and I'm near a thrift store, I'm gonna stop in and we're gonna do a quick shift and see what they've got and see if there's any pieces that catch my eye. I am very selective. I would say a lot of people tell me I've got an eye for it. They say I go thrifting all the time and I don't find the pieces that you find. But it's more about the vision of what can this be,
Right.
What look like on someone. And so I've really just utilized that to kind of showcase the clothing itself. And then, like I said, my biggest development in that is to spread that awareness and have that advocacy implemented into it, because Texas is in such a deep crisis right now, and it's been a decade-long crisis for the foster system.
Right.
And so if I can hit, really 3 birds with one stone, then why not?
Right. So talk to us about Texas and the burden of the, those in the foster care system.
Yeah, okay, for sure. So Texas has been in a decade-long crisis. It is to the point where we have so many children in the system that there's not enough housing. And these kids are literally being placed in CPS offices to sleep on cots.
Oh my goodness.
It's insane. The biggest issue and the biggest cause for the crisis is lack of funding.
Okay.
So Texas just doesn't have enough money to keep up with, what the amount of kids. However, in 2018, President Donald Trump signed into action the Family First Initiative program.
Okay.
And so this sent out millions of dollars all over the U.S.
Okay.
But Texas was unable to become compliant. So it's estimated that over $40 million will be lost between 2022 and 2023 because Governor Greg Abbott has literally just not become compliant. So this crisis is fully invested upon us just not gaining compliancy. And I think that's due to the lack of awareness.
Right.
It's lack of advocacy. Not enough people are talking about what the system endures, what these children go through on a daily basis, on top of the trauma that they've already gone through.
Absolutely.
And so it's just, I feel, obviously I have a connection because I was a foster kid. I wasn't adopted until the age of, I was adopted by my aunt and uncle. And I endured sexual abuse from my uncle for years, put him in prison, woot woot. But I ended up getting adopted at the age of 17 by the family, the Brorman family. And so I've gone through it. I've been there. I've done that. And now I feel like it's my turn to be that voice for the voiceless and to speak up for those who are, left in the dark.
Absolutely true. Well, I want to tell you that we are so connected on like 3 levels here. You're killing me. I'm a realtor for 20 years. I love it. And I know when you were talking about that's a whole nother level. Yeah. You get first dibs in a lot of things. and then on, being a child of childhood sexual abuse and surviving through it. Those are so many other layers on top of being a foster child. That's another layer. And I'm glad that you're advocating for this because children get left behind so much in everything because we think they always say we're resilient. We're not, because we grow up to be these adults who really are struggling, because we haven't, dealt with those things of the past. But I like what you said, that you're connected to it and you give devotion to it because of that.
Yes.
Can we talk about, like a client that kind of changed the way you were doing things, like or someone who just when you saw these what you picked out on them and it changed their lives, how it impacted you?
Yeah. So I would say it was whenever I was actually prior to launching TFY.
Okay.
I was doing a photo shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And the photo shoot was for the clothing. And so I basically just said, hey, I'll feed you if you come take some because startups are just like that.
And yes, they are.
I got really lucky and I had an amazing group of girls come out. And, I was honestly always kind of scared and reserved when it came to my clothes because I am in West Texas and my style is not West Texas.
Okay.
Always very much a scare of like, when I come out with this, are people even going to like my clothes?
Right.
And so whenever we were having this photo shoot, it was so much fun because I saw all of these girls just light up when they put my clothes on.
Yeah.
I just, it's reaffirming to you, but it's also like, these pieces, every single item that I find, I told you, I have a deep connection to them. So it's hard for me to see them go, but just seeing how much love that they had for these clothes, it just was such a motivation for me, to actually jumpstart the business. To know that not only, them putting it on and seeing them showcase these clothes, but also just fall in love with how it made them feel and how it made them look and how they would look at themselves in the mirror or, they needed to take a selfie real quick. Those are, that's what I live for. I'm all about female empowerment, but just seeing them light up in that way and then being able to connect with them on that level and then being like, hey, there's a story behind this. And then they're more open and they're more willing to listen to the story. And when they hear the story, they develop a deeper connection to the clothes. Yeah. So it all intertwines and works together. And I think that was definitely one of those moments for me. It was that photo shoot. It wasn't a specific girl. It wasn't a specific client,
it was a photo shoot.
It was all of them. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's beautiful. That is really beautiful. The connection, you're teaching us something now, because I think I'm getting a sense of why I'm a minimalist. I never knew why. Because at first I don't like a lot of stuff. But you're teaching me that I have I'm thinking about my clothes as you're talking. Each piece I have a connection to. And now I'm like, I'm going to do that even more often. So this is great. This is great food for the soul, We don't have to have a lot to enjoy things and to be comfortable, because I like to be comfortable. I lived too many years uncomfortable for everyone else, and now I'm in the stage, oh well, you like it?
Exactly.
And I want to talk about style, because we talk about fashion all the time, right? And I know that this is something that you do, and I think that you have what you're giving us today is why style exists. Let's talk about the difference between fashion and style.
Okay. So I think that especially in the world that we live in, we tend to become comfortable is the right word for that.
Yeah.
We see how people style themselves, right? In our daily lives,
Right.
and we tend to mimic, right? Because all of us like to mold and fit in. Not
Exactly.
all of us, but
Great word, mimic. Great
yes,
word.
yes. And I think that it's limiting in that way. I think that the beauty in fashion, in the fashion industry, in the fashion world, and just fashion in general, is that it is so complex and versatile. And that's one of the things that I even press with my clothes is that, whenever I'm selling and showcasing, a lot of times I'll have guys who come in and they're like, do you have any guy clothes? And I'm like, listen, if it looks good on you, it looks good on you.
Ooh, I like that. That's great. I like that.
So I think that that's like one of the big differences is like whenever, having your own personal set style, right, is one thing. That's great as long as you're not doing that mimicking and you're showcasing yourself through it.
Right.
With fashion, there's a whole world that you can dive into when we're talking colors, when we're talking patterns, when we're talking Western and Middle Eastern, and it's so endless, right? And I think one of the big impacts in my life is that I was so susceptible to change, right? In the foster system, you move around, you bounce around, you meet new cultures, you meet new people, new individuals, new way of thinking. And it kind of correlated to my fashion because at the end of the day, I never really had one set style, right? And so I went from being a person who would develop a style to being someone who was just absorbed with fashion and the love. And that's definitely been a huge, I think, benefit for me with TFY because I'm all over the place. You can't call me Western, you can't call me Southern. It's just
and that's great. That's a great way to be because that makes you limitless. Makes you limitless.
Most definitely.
Absolutely. That's great. Okay, so is there something that is there a common myth about what you do right now as a thrifter? Or there might be another word that you do that you would like to debunk that someone's always saying. Is there something that you can share with us?
A common myth. I guess one of the biggest things that I hear more often, and I don't know if it would be considered a myth or if it's
just something they say. Yes.
Stereotype.
Yes.
I could. And I love my mother to death, but I can relate that to her, right? People have this outlook or this perspective on thrifting as a nasty thing,
right?
As a it's that I'm going to be wearing someone else's clothes, and that's just I can't even think about touching something that someone else has worn. And I think that that's something that a perspective, and it's such a myth. I mean, at the end of the day. In my eyes, you wash it, it's brand new.
Right? You haven't had it before.
That's why we're in this situation where we have such an abundance of clothing to the point where we're being overloaded, right?
Yeah, right.
It's to the point where Levi's is even promoting sustainability because it's needed.
Right.
And I think that the idea and the concept of thrifting being nasty or being correlated with negative or just negative emotions in general, I think that just has to go. It's got to go. I think there's beauty in everything, but there is most definitely beauty in clothes and the way that listen, I will tell you this.
Yes.
The clothes that I find, they don't make them like that anymore.
That's right. They don't. I like that. I really do like that because I was saying that to, I think my mom, and I was like, I'm so tired of polyester. It's not warm in the wintertime, and it's definitely not soothing in the summertime. And I was like, I want out of it all. So I went through my closet, I think a month ago, and I just started pulling things out. Polyester, out of here. So my mom was like, what are you going to wear? I said, the things that make me comfortable. which were like a lot of cotton, and cotton blends. And I think that's important too, is to really, stay true to yourself. You're so in tune with yourself. That's what you're really relaying to me, is that you're so in tune with the inner being of who you are. It's really enlightening. It's refreshing as well.
I appreciate that. I think I can correlate that directly to being a foster kid, because I didn't have someone molding me or telling me what to do or what to wear or how to act. Instead I was surrounded by so many different types of people, so many different heritage, so many different cultures, that I was able to just take a little bit of everything and piece it all together and create me.
Yeah. And that's good. What are the best resources that have helped you in your business?
I would say number one is that, and I think people tend to not think about this very much, but it's just the God-given gift of communication.
Oh, very good.
Literally. And I was watching the Genius series on Netflix, the documentary, Kanye West documentary, and Jay-Z said something that I have just been utilizing in my everyday life since I heard it, and it's that closed mouths don't get fed.
Oh, no, they don't.
Yes.
No, they do. That's my favorite, and I love to ask. I will not stop asking. I will never stop asking.
And once I open my mouth, I promise you the food has been abundant.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you are giving us some great food for thought and some great fashion tips and some style tips about thrifting. What is the biggest failure in what you're doing now that you learned along the way, and how did you apply it to what you're doing now?
So I think that's an easy question. My biggest failure is, and I think failure is a objective term. I think that it has a negative connotation, but I think that you learn from every single failure.
Sure,
right?
You do. Yes.
I think that the success doesn't feel as good if you don't fail a few times.
Exactly.
But for me, it was quite literally being so obsessed with the specifics, with, specifications of what is my website going to look like? How am I going to post this? Who am I going to use? Do I do this? Do I do that? I need to make sure this is right. I need to check this and double check that, to the point where this idea was developed in 2016 and I didn't truly launch it until this year.
Yeah.
Now, my mindset shifted, and I think that the biggest thing for me was that I thought I needed to have all the preparation in the world. I needed every specific down to the last T. I needed to have everything in line. And I think that because I didn't just dive on in, I wasted so much time, essentially. And I think that that's a lot of things. The hardest part of many things is just starting.
Yeah, it really is.
For me, my major shift happened whenever I had my baby. Because while I was pregnant, growing up in the foster system, I wasn't shown unconditional love. I wasn't given stability. I wasn't showcased how to be a parent. And I think that's many people, not just foster kids.
Right.
Because of that, I had a scare and a worry about having my child that I wasn't prepared. And ready or not, he popped right on out. And as I was holding my baby, I realized that, while preparation is key, at the end of the day, it takes me grabbing that key, putting it in the hole, twisting it, and opening up that door.
Yeah.
It takes the action that you have to push, and so I made that decision that it was time for action. It was time to get started, and it was time to dive in head first. And looking back on everything that I've done, I don't think that there was twists and turns, obviously, but at the end of the day, the number one thing I wish I could have changed was obsessing over the unknown, obsessing over the preparation. And I think preparation is key, but like I said, it's that action step that is necessary to the success.
Right. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. Perfectionism. We can't get that right if we tried.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
We could not get it right. So this is a great for our audience. You've heard a lot from Aliscia. I'm loving it. I'm loving everything about the sustainability of thrifting, the beauty in the clothing, the connection with the clothing. It's bringing new light to how I even think about clothes at this point right now. And you're making a change for me, Aliscia. I really appreciate that. And I hope that we're making the change in the audience, right? And now that we've gotten to know all about your business, we're going to turn the tables and we're going to get to know about you personally. What is your favorite dessert?
That one is tough. I adore sweets.
Oh, what? You adore well, you'll be best friends with my granddaughter. She adores them.
It's one of those. It's an itch that I've had to scratch my whole life. I'm even having to at this point learn how to not overindulge.
Right. Yeah.
I would say that top tier, you can't get rid of it, is chocolate.
Yeah, you're going to be best friends with my granddaughter. That would be up her alley. I never saw a child take small bites of chocolate to indulge. She says the flavor, and she's 6. She's 6, and I'm like, you're indulging. You're learning to she's learning to appreciate things like that. I'm like, I usually see kids gobble down chocolates like down the hatch. She's like, You got to take small bite sizes to let it last. I said, it'll melt. She says, no, it's okay. And she's just loves it. That's really good. That's really a good choice. It's a great
especially
choice.
German chocolate. That
my goodness.
Level of chocolate.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's a whole nother level. A whole nother level. Yes. So what is your favorite color?
My favorite color is blue. And I, as far as shades go, because shades
matter, that's you wouldn't be Aliscia if you didn't give us a shade. Come on, give us a shade.
So how do I put this? Turquoise is one of those things, right? It's my birthstone. It's color of foster care awareness.
Right.
There's so many things that play into it, but I've just had a draw to that my entire life. Like the beauty of it, even just looking up into the sky, the different shades of blue that come out. I mean, blue is just so endless. I think it provides that sense of coolness. It provides that sense of just, I guess, whenever I was going through so much, blue was one of those colors that helped me level out. Yeah. It provided that sense of peace and calmness for me.
Endless blue. I like that. So audience, hashtag endless blue. I like that. Endless blue. I love it. I just love it. I really like all of what you're saying. I'm just excited. I really am. So, if you had a billboard, what would you write on that billboard and why?
That's a good one. Probably, your story doesn't end here.
Oh. Would you put a period, or what would you put at the end of that?
Probably ... And that, and that is because it
doesn't end.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
Ongoing. And with each period, there's a circle, right? And circles literally never end.
Woo! That's it. Oh, that's really good. That is really good. That is really good. Oh my goodness. That's excellent. So I'm going to give you this last question. What would you pick for your last meal? It's not a dessert.
I love it. A very, very last meal. That's a good one. This sounds crazy. My Oma passed away from breast cancer, but she used to make goulash. It's a German meal.
Yes, I've had it before.
Family adopted into her German, so I was introduced to a whole new, array of foods. And gosh, could she cook up some goulash?
That sounds good. Yeah.
Yes.
Goulash. Yeah. Okay. So final thoughts, Aliscia, that you can leave with my audience. Final thoughts, and anyone in business that wants to take this their business life to the next level, anything like that you can share.
My final thoughts are going to be that no matter how hard you think something's going to be, and no matter how many obstacles that come about, the hardest part that you're going to face is the start. Because overcoming your own mental blockade that you set for yourself, once you can do that, the rest is cake. Right. The rest is just about molding and developing and creating new things as as the world throws these new obstacles at you. And once you've overcome your own battle and within your own self created, not only that positivity, but just that confidence within yourself,
right?
There's no stopping you.
That's right. That is right. Well, this brings us to the end of the show. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, audience, and you'd like to help support, remember to like, share, and post it on the social media. But more so than that, on the end of this show, you can actually leave a message for Aliscia. But Alicia's going to tell us where we can find her on the internet, wherever she wants us to locate her, so that you can leave a message for her.
Yes, you can find me on most platforms are all TFY Apparel. Okay. And super easy. That's actually our website, everything.
Right.
And I respond immediately. I'm super active on social media. I am a millennial. So you can definitely reach me there. And I would love to hear from you, hear your stories, and hear any kind of feedback.
That'd be wonderful. So you can catch up with me on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter at EJW Coaching. Thanks again, audience, and I'll see you next time. And remember to always draw abundance, have happiness, and a whole lot of fun. This is Edna White, and my guest today, Aliscia Brorman, from the Forgotten Youth Apparel. Saying goodbye for now.
The most wonderful time of the year. Although, let's be honest, around the holidays, things really add up. But here's the good news. Only at Verizon, you can get a single line for $50 per month when you switch and bring your phone. So, while ice skating for two is definitely costing more, here at Verizon, you can save. Gifts for your third cousins? Steep. A single line with Verizon? Not so steep. A real tree? Pricey. A single line with Verizon? Less pricey. Flights to see Mima and Pops? Those are up. A $50 per month single line? That's down. Even a trip to the Atlanta holiday market will cost you more. But with Verizon, you can switch and bring your phone for just $50 per month for a single line on unlimited welcome, with autopay plus taxes and fees. All this to say, during the holiday season, when everything is costing more, you can get more for less right now at a local Verizon store. $15 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G, 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply. The most wonderful time of the year. Although, let's be honest, around the holidays, things really add up. But here's the good news. Only at Verizon, you can get a single line for $50 per month when you switch and bring your phone. So, while ice skating for two is definitely costing more, here at Verizon, you can save. Gifts for your third cousins? Steep. A single line with Verizon? Not so steep. A real tree? Pricey. A single line with Verizon? Less pricey. Flights to see Mima and Pops? Those are up. A $50 per month single line? That's down. Even a trip to the Atlanta holiday market will cost you more. But with Verizon, you can switch and bring your phone for just $50 per month for a single line on unlimited welcome, with autopay plus taxes and fees. All this to say, during the holiday season, when everything is costing more, you can get more for less right now at a local Verizon store. $15 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G, 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.